There's a particular kind of frustration that comes with meaningful goals. You care about what you're trying to achieve, you think about it often, and you even make plans. But when it comes to execution, something feels heavier than it should. You start strong, then lose momentum. You try again, and the pattern repeats. For example, you may commit to working on a business every evening, follow through for a few days, and then suddenly feel resistance for no clear reason. At some point, the conclusion feels obvious. You just need more discipline. But what if that isn't true? If you're new here, hi, my name is Cynthia. I'm a goal and purpose clarity coach, and my work is centered on helping you move from confusion and overthinking to clear direction and focused action. On here, we go beyond surface level advice and we explore the underlying structures that shape how your goals are formed, pursued, and sustained. I'm also the author of The Goal Truth, where I break down a 10 truth framework for the internal conditions necessary for durable goal achievement. If that sounds like something you want to check out, you can access the book through the link in the description box below or in my bio. Now, let's continue. Here is something that is going to completely alter your understanding of discipline. If you're struggling to stay disciplined, the problem is not discipline. The problem is alignment. You see, discipline is often treated as the foundation of success, something you build, strengthen, and rely on to carry you forward. When in reality, discipline is actually downstream. It reflects the state of something deeper. When a goal is aligned, discipline is stable. But when a goal is misaligned, discipline becomes inconsistent and effortful. For example, you may never miss a workout, yet struggle to sit down and write for 30 minutes. In one area, consistency feels natural. In another, it feels forced. That is why you can be highly disciplined in one area of life, yet completely inconsistent in another. You may show up for your career fully, meet deadlines, and deliver results with consistency. Yet when it comes to your personal goals, like building something of your own, you find yourself procrastinating or delaying. This is not a character flaw, it is a structural signal. So, what exactly is alignment? A goal is aligned when it's internally owned across three different levels. Number one, identity. Number two, emotional ownership. Number three, meaning. So let's begin with identity. When a goal fits into how you see yourself, action becomes easier to initiate and sustain. But when it doesn't, every step requires extra effort. For example, if you see yourself primarily as a corporate professional, but you're trying to build a personal brand, showing up online may feel unnatural. You may overthink every post, delay publishing, or avoid it entirely. But when your identity supports your goal, your behavior begins to feel like an extension of who you are. Someone who sees themselves as a thinker, who shares ideas, finds it much easier to show up and create. The second layer is emotional ownership. Not all goals are truly chosen. Some are shaped by expectation, comparison, or what looks like the logical next step. For example, you may pursue a career path simply because it is respected and financially stable, even if it doesn't genuinely excite you. You perform well, but feel a quiet resistance when it comes to going deeper and committing long term. That creates internal tension. A part of you is committed, another part is unconvinced. But when a goal is internally owned, that resistance disappears. There is a quiet clarity in the pursuit where you would still choose it even if no one ever saw the result. For example, someone who writes, creates, or studies something deeply without external validation is operating from ownership, not pressure. The third layer is meaning. Effort becomes sustainable when it connects to something deeper. When a goal is lacking meaning, the work feels heavy. Each action feels like something you have to justify. For example, Saving money with no clear reason feels restrictive. You feel like you're constantly denying yourself. But when meaning is present, effort feels different. Saving to build freedom, invest in your future, support your family, create a sense of purpose behind the effort. Now, when alignment is missing, discipline starts to break down in predictable ways. Number one, you experience constant internal negotiation. You're not just doing the work, you're convincing yourself to do the work each time. For example, you sit down to work and then start checking your phone, reorganizing your space, or delaying starting altogether. Number two, consistency becomes dependent on mood, energy, or pressure. You might work intensely when inspired and then suddenly disengage when the feeling fades. And there's a subtle form of resistance. You are moving toward the goal, yet part of you is not fully engaged. For example, you may procrastinate on something important while easily completing less meaningful tasks. This is what makes the process exhausting. So trying to solve it by increasing effort does not work long term. You can push harder for a while, create temporary momentum, but the underlying structure remains the same. Your energy becomes divided between doing the work and managing internal conflict. Eventually, something gives. But when alignment is present, discipline changes. It becomes quieter, more stable, and less dependent on force. For example, someone who identifies as a healthy and active person does not debate whether to exercise. It is just simply part of their routine. It is not a decision they have to fight through each day. You still experience difficulty, of course. You still get tired, but the resistance is no longer structural. It stays at the surface level, and that is a completely different experience. So instead of asking, how do I become more disciplined? Ask a better question. Does this goal align with how I see myself? Is this desire genuinely mine? Is this effort connected to something meaningful? Because discipline is not something you can rely on indefinitely in the absence of alignment. When identity, desire, and meaning are coherent, discipline becomes sustainable. It supports your actions rather than carrying them. And if your discipline continues to break down, take that as information. It is pointing you towards a misalignment that needs to be understood. If this way of thinking resonates with you, then that is exactly the kind of work we do here. And if you want to go deeper into understanding how to create the internal coherence that is required for sustainable goal achievement, then hit the follow button and join me in my next video. Bye.